Welcome to another episode of the Bandage Podcast, a weekly wrap-up of the most trending healthcare news. Each week, join me and my co-host Alex Ross as we'll discuss the latest in healthcare, health IT, and compliance. In this week's episode, we discuss heart health for the homeless, a Snapchat health tool, a hepatitis A outbreak, and a college campus mental health resources tool. Let's wrap things up. This is episode 20 for the week of February 17th. I'm Matt Moneypenny.
And I'm Alex Ross.
Before we get started, our diagnosis code of the week is W45.8XXA. Other foreign body or object entering through skin. Initial encounter.
Let me tell you, Matt, I just got to say, this has happened to me very recently.
Go on.
Interestingly enough. Last week on Friday was Valentine's Day, right? And of course, it's only second as my favorite holiday to Thanksgiving. But Valentine's Day, I was hanging out with certain people who are particularly special to me.
Yes.
Or I should say a certain person who's
Am I particularly special to you?
Special to me. And as we're sitting there having dinner, eating some delicious, wonderful food, a naked baby climbs up on the table next to me, pulls out a bow and arrow, and shoots me with it. So basically, I fell in love, and
also received an other foreign body or object entering through your skin.
In this case,
initially,
the foreign body that was entering through my skin was a
heart-shaped
love arrow. Yeah.
Wow.
So I hope you all had a happy Valentine's Day. And with that, let's get into the news.
First up, we have Hearts for the Homeless. A student-run organization gives free blood pressure screenings to the homeless in Gainesville. Hearts for the Homeless also does body mass index screenings and donates items for hygiene. The students can't give out medications since they aren't medical professionals, but they give the patients a slip with their blood pressure readings, BMI, and a list of ways to reduce blood pressure. They also give patients a list of free clinics where they can give medicine and medical care. The volunteers see many of the same patients each week. This group has expanded to 4 other U.S. cities and also cities in Brazil. This sounds like something where it's like, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we just do these free health screenings and then see what happens, right?
Right. It very well may be a great way to kind of take the load off of our primary care physicians by providing the simple stuff, things that we can teach, medical students to do,
right.
or even, not even medical students, but people who are intending to go into the medical profession, college students in general can do things like blood pressure checks.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a great way to, if you're getting if you're in college and you're a nursing student or anything like that, it's a great way to have experience while you're, just kind of.
Right. A little bit of a volunteer opportunity.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, not too over the top. And it takes away that really simple strain on our primary physicians with, if I'm healthy, I don't need any kind of, intervention. I don't need medical help right now. I can go to these people, they'll check me, make sure everything's okay, and then I can go on with my day.
Plus, it's for the homeless. So, those people need healthcare too.
Next up, Snapchat is here for you. The popular social media platform Snapchat is adding a new tool called Here For You to its service. With the Here For You tool, if users search topics ranging from depression to thinspo, the thinspiration content that can promote anorexia, Snapchat's results will intervene with helpful content written by experts. Snapchat is looking for a health alternative to provide young people with tools that will be readily available within the app.
This is pretty cool. So we've seen a lot of pushes with social medias trying to get rid of fake news and anything revolving around that for the most part. And a lot of the fake news that's out there is these people who call themselves influencers giving out false information about health benefits. And this is a great way to combat that with Snapchat. So pretty cool.
Right. This is something that Google has been doing at least for the last year, probably longer. It wasn't
started
until...
with the Medic update with their SEO.
Right. But if you search something on Google that, for example, talks about depression or anxiety or something like that, the first few links are always going to be some type of, do you need help? You can get it here. In some cases, that might be the suicide prevention hotline. That might be some other Mental Health America organization, something like that. And it's really nice to see these organizations understand that their services can potentially harbor things,
especially if
that
younger,
can hurt people, and kind of offering an alternative to that and promoting things that are going to keep people healthy, keep people safe, and help them access these resources.
Yeah, a lot of people who use social media are younger folks,
right?
And TikTok's actually having issues with that as well right now. So
younger folks who get all their information
from
the
social
internet,
media,
right?
with people who call themselves experts. So, and the reason why they're experts is because they have huge followings, not really anything else for the most part.
I've been thinking about starting something similar myself, where I just say that I am an expert, and then people follow me for that. And then I have a lot of followers, and that proves I'm an expert.
Yeah, obviously, Alex, you don't need anything other than that.
But I think if I'm going to choose something to be an expert on, it's not going to be something as dramatic as mental health or, dieting or stuff like that. I'm going to pick something like, I don't know, birds.
Next up, I said pass the A1, not hepatitis A. A hepatitis A outbreak is linked to the 555 East American Steakhouse in Long Beach, according to health officials. 8 cases have been confirmed in individuals who dined at the restaurant on or around Christmas Eve. The source of the illness is still under investigation, but those who ate at the restaurant around that time may have been exposed and should seek medical attention if they become ill. Symptoms can appear 2 to 7 weeks after exposure and usually develop over several days. The restaurant does not pose a public health risk at this time. Hepatitis A, huh?
I'm
That's
a little
pretty
concerned
serious.
that the LA Times, which is where this story comes from, is reporting that the restaurant doesn't pose a potential risk at this time, but they don't know where it came from.
Right. Yeah.
How do you know
it might
that?
be linked, is linked there, but who knows? It's definitely not good. I don't wonder how hepatitis gets into a steakhouse.
Bodily fluids. Someone did something they shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's not good.
Didn't clean it up properly, and it could be an infected person who just has a cut on their hand, and they're working with food that I don't know, already cooked or not to be cooked, like salads, things like that, and anything that could potentially transfer from them to that food, and then you ingest it.
You know how they say that all PR is good PR, even if it's negative? That is definitely not true for the restaurant business.
Not true in the restaurant
No,
industry.
not at all. Because, if you look at something like Chipotle, that definitely brought down their stock value. So.
Oh, yeah. And today, if I check the health records of something local and it's terrible, I will never go back to that place ever.
Yeah,
Even
right.
if they suddenly turn everything around and get amazing stellar grades forever and ever, I'm never even going to look at it again. It's that one time and it's done.
Can't mess with
just give up,
food,
burn it
man.
down, collect the insurance money, and of course I'm kidding, but there have been a few restaurants that I used to eat at, and then I looked at the health records and I'm like, oh, this is going on at that place, and I just won't go back. I'll go to one that hasn't had those issues.
Goes back to that health grading system that I love that some states do, where they give you a grade that you have to post on the front door of your restaurant saying how sanitary your organization is based upon that grade. So I don't think East American Steakhouse would get a very good grade.
No, not at this point. But unfortunately, this could just be, one employee who accidentally did something.
Cut himself or something, you know what I mean?
Not even like a bleeding cut, just some kind of open wound at all that they, I don't know, their glove slipped a little bit and they got it on the outside of the glove and didn't realize it. I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was necessarily, flagrantly, ignoring the rules. But unfortunately, this kind of thing is pretty serious, right? Hepatitis is not your common cold.
No.
Next up, Just Breathe. 2 Widener University students created a tool for the school's student portal that allows peers to ask for mental health help more easily. The tool pulls up a list of resources, such as the number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It also includes information on the university's counseling and psychological services. The information is accessed when students type the word breathe into the search bar on the portal. The students met with the university psychologist and provost to make the tool more reliable and to approve the resources. Interesting choice of search functionality.
Yeah, so this is like just, it seems like it's a interesting way to try to get students to look into the resources that they have available to them, right? Instead of it being like, go to our resources tab and click on mental health services and then call one of those numbers, it's like, just type in breathe. It's much easier and you can remember it much better. That's pretty much what this is, right? Which is interesting.
I could see it being something that's a little more memorable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you now have to teach everybody how to find this stuff still.
I mean, it's probably still available.
It's not straightforward.
Yeah.
I feel like the better option would have just been to put a button.
It's probably still available within like a resources tab and whatnot, but this is just like another way to find it. So almost like another URL.
If the goal is to make it easier to find, though, and accessible to students, just put a little button that says breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's always there. You can click it at any time.
It'd be cool if they had an app that also does breathing exercises within it. And then if you want more help, then you can find it with those resources. That would be sweet.
Are you listening, students at Widener University?
Yeah, Widener University. We're giving you ideas here, man. We're a gold mine.
Yeah, yep.
But still, any push for mental health awareness is always good. So good on Widener University for making a step in the right direction. With that, let's go on to our next segment. BREACH, Breach Patrol. It's a breach! All of the latest cybersecurity breaches. Welcome to Breach Patrol, where we talk about the latest breaches all across the world. First up, we have 4 men responsible for attacks on Equifax. 4 members of the Chinese military were charged with the 2017 Equifax data breach, stealing trade secrets and the personal data of nearly 145 million with an M Americans. The stolen information could reveal if American officials are under financial stress, making them susceptible to bribery or blackmail. Investigators identified the 4 officers by reviewing forensic data, analyzing the malware used in the attack, and establishing a footprint that linked them to the intrusion. Law enforcement officials have found no evidence that the Chinese government has used data from the Equifax hack. Whoa. 3 years later, we're finally getting some answers on this massive hack that everyone was freaking out about.
I was freaking out about it, that's for sure, because it was like the year before was the year that someone at my college fell victim to a phishing attack. And so my W-2, my identity was compromised there. And then it's like the next year, I get compromised again in the Equifax breach. And I'm just like, you know what? At this point, I'm just going to make up a new identity. I'm going to go borrow someone else's because mine is it's done for. There's nothing I can do. But this makes it seem like I really wasn't the target, which perhaps makes me a little more hopeful that I'm because I'm not a government official. And if that's actually what they were trying to do, which makes a lot of sense, as criminal as it is, then maybe I'm safe. Maybe I can calm down a little bit. This
is definitely good news because it's good news on 2 parts, right? The U.S. figured out who the problem was, and on top of that, we found out that it was the Chinese government, and usually they're not going to do that much. They're not going to use that information that much, right? So people who are worried, like, oh my gosh, I could have $0 in my bank account next month because of this hack from 3 years ago.
You still probably could.
It could, but in theory you could, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
I read something somewhere about this that it was like, they said that the Chinese government and like cohorts of that government are like obsessed with just getting access to American data and information of its citizens. Not really sure why. I mean, you could take a few assumptions, but I mean, that's kind of an interesting fact.
Was this related to the NFL football social accounts being hacked?
I don't think so. Maybe. But yeah.
I want to say they got another one of them the other day.
Yeah,
they started with Twitter and then
I feel like it's just war in politics is just becoming like a cyber battle, and it's like who can control their citizens or have access to other citizens. Yeah, right. So but yeah, good thing that we figured this out. It just goes to show you too that if you hack American citizens, the government is not going to give up until they can figure out who did this, especially on something on this large of a scale, right?
We're going to have a never-ending cyber war.
Yes. So, but yeah, that's awesome. Good news.
Next up, I'd like to make a withdrawal of your protected data. In a letter to customers, Fifth Third Bank said it believes a small number of former employees misused some customers' information dating back to the summer of 2018. The bank has investigated the issue internally and continues to work with law enforcement. It offered its Identity Alert Fraud Alert services free for a year to the affected customers. The bank also said that all impacted customers have been notified and all customers that suffered financial loss were reimbursed. The stolen information was given to outside people by the involved employees who have since been fired. I sure hope so.
Yeah, I can imagine that they would be fired after something like this. That's crazy. Anytime there's something where an employee is doing a malicious act on the customer's data, it's like, wow, you're not a nice person, number one, and you must have some serious issues with where you were working.
Right.
Like to do that and like have a vendetta and be like, all right, you know what? I don't like my job, so I'm going to screw all these people that aren't even related, that are just using the services, that are just average people trying to go by their lives.
Right. And with all of these cases, here's the philosophical question I have for you, right? If it's on the internet, it's on the internet forever. We've been told that since the beginning of time, that, you know, the internet preserves things. So if it makes it on there, you can't get rid of it. There's nothing you can do. And I would say that's similar to all of our information, right?
Yes.
Why then, when these kind of things happen, do we only give them a year of identity monitoring or identity protection?
Yeah, it should be like a lifetime. Right?
I can't imagine that it's that financially challenging for these organizations to just keep someone on the rules and look over it, right? It shouldn't be that big of a spend for Fifth Third.
It's just a marketing ploy where they're like, you know what? We're going to save our face, give them this, and then after a year, we're going to gain more money.
You know, when my identity was potentially compromised, they gave us 3 years. And, you know, like, if I'm someone sitting on a gold mine of information that's going to be worth millions of dollars, what do I care if I have to wait 3 years?
Yeah, right.
Maybe I won't even wait 3 years because I don't care that they're monitoring it. I can still make my money, but I could just wait 3 years and then the service is done. A lot of times, frankly, it seems like the reason they include these services and give them to people is hoping that the people will then start to pay for them.
Yep,
once the free trial has
they're going to make money.
It's a free trial.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is wrong, right? If you're the victim of a crime because of something a company did or something their employees did, that company has the responsibility to make that up to you. And a year of monitoring, it just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And that's the hill I'm going to die on.
I mean, you can also go with the argument that it's like, hey, I mean, you're giving us this protection, this identity alert and fraud protection, but I mean, you're the one who got breached in the first place, so your services can't be that great. Yeah.
Well, the good news is usually they outsource that to a company that does that,
hopefully.
Right? For me, I got, I don't even remember which company it was. It was probably Equifax Identity Protection, knowing my luck. But yeah, take care of people and protect your protected data. And
protect the protected data because it needs to be protected.
And that's it for this week's wrap-up of your weekly healthcare news. I'm Alex Ross.
And I'm Matt Moneypenny.
And we'll see you
next week.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of The Bandage. This week's episode was written and produced by eTactics. eTactics is a leading revenue cycle solutions organization committed to providing innovative, web-based solutions that improve our clients' cash management and customer relationships. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.